Hello and welcome to Race Country Cottage, week 32 of our Thai house build. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate all the viewers and all the comments that I've received over the weeks. So we're about 3 weeks till we're finished. So this week and next week will be about all the house aesthetics, the finishing pieces. This week the kitchen cabinets were installed and they look fantastic. The front door was installed, wood look aluminum kind of teak finish. Really happy with that result. The screens for the sliding doors and the windows have been installed. And all the door frames, the internal rooms of the house have all been completed. The tiler, he finished putting some stonework on the sides of the steps, and the steps tiling has all been completed, so that looks wonderful. And there was some tidy up around the site this week as well. So there was a day worker here just taking down the old storage shed that they used during the build and leveling out the dirt around the sidewalk to cover the water supply pipes and a few other bits and pieces. So busy week. He's behind me. I don't know if you can see any activity, but the electrician has arrived and there's a team of 4 working on the electric. So we'll cover that next week, but really happy to see that hopefully by the end of next week we'll have power on the house with any luck. So thanks for joining me and follow along for this week's update. Cheers, bye. So this week, the internal door frames for the various rooms were completed, installed. So there was this fella and his brother, they're a team of 2 that installed doors and frames on various builds. So I think they were at the house 3 different days over the week, putting together the frames. It's yes molding doors and frames we're using. So here they have completed the initial frame and drilling holes in the side, which they'll screw into the walls of the door of the opening. Here they're just checking that it's square in the frame, and here they're drilling the concrete door opening so that they can put in the plastic screw holders. But they screw through the door and into these plastic holders to keep the door in place. So here they're now just making the opening of the hole a bit larger for the head, and then they screw it into the wall, into those plastic holders they had hammered in just in the previous clip. So this is one of those jobs that once you see it once, it's the same for every door of the house. But it was interesting to watch this particular frame. It's different to the frames they're used to putting together. So this comes in multiple pieces and goes in, so that piece hides the drill holes that were made, and so there's this hiding piece on both sides. And here just continuing to fit and use the air gun to attach it to the other piece of the frame, and then here just trying the door fit into the frame. See if any adjustments are needed. Everything seemed to work fairly well. And then they went around and put the molding in with the air gun. So the molding that goes around the inside and outside of the door, just to hide it and make it look attractive. They glue the piece in with, I think it's acrylic They put on the back of the molding, and then once it's in place, they use the air gun as well to attach it to the other piece of the frame. Here he's applying the acrylic to help seal it and hold it, and nail it in place with the air gun. So all very happy with the way they went about their business. Look all very neat and tidy, and they're very careful. And they they sealed up, do caulking on the space between the frame and the wall before they're done. And then what we get is the final result. That's what the door frame looks like, all ready to hang the doors once the floors go in. So yeah, really happy with the choice of color and the result. They also, there's 2 doors that lead to the outside. This is off the kitchen, and there's one from the storage room in the carport, and they did the same there. Then we're on to our new front door. I was really excited about the door's arrival. It's a featured door for the front of the house. Nice coloring. Frame came in pieces, and they needed to put it together, so it was screwed together with a drill, and they also riveted the corners in place, so it became, fairly solid, well put together frame that then fitted into the 165 centimeter opening for the front door. So the door is going to be a double door set. They used the laser system to, there's a green beam that tells them whether the door is straight, and it was. Then they hung one door, and then they're on to hanging the next door. Here they were just aligning some panels. It's all a bit loose yet. That need to be all put together. So the pins for the hinge system is already in place, so they just need to fit the door. Just putting it into place, making sure it's sat well in the hinge system. Then we took the panels back out to finish putting the door together, and here we are with the door in place. And this is the new look. Really happy with that. Some framing to go around it, I think, to make it stand out. Then we're on to window screens. The team are using a fiberglass screening, black screening, and they had the frames all together, but now they put the screen into the frames. So they just use the back porch as the workshop. With their tool and the rubber, they roll the rubber and stretch the screening across the frames to complete the look. It was like a workshop at the house. And here's a view of some of the completed screens. So there's a sliding screens, and for the majority of windows, it's a hinge screen system. And they have mounted with 3 hinges on the window frame here, and this is a sliding door to the kitchen, to the lounge room. And here they're just testing out the hinge system they've installed in one of the bedrooms. Make sure it's aligned and working well. Okay, and here they're in the lounge room doing the same thing, fitting the screens. So all the windows will have screens, so I'm happy with that. And here they were just putting the molding pieces on the glass door that separates the lounge dining and down the hallway you saw earlier installed. So it was just they hadn't done this before. All the other windows have it, so they just take their time. It's just a plastic piece, and it's got an adhesive applied to the back of it, and it's put on, and they've got their markers. So that was the door partly done, and here we are with the door fully done. So you know it's a door. And then it was on to Tyler finishing off the stairs to the porches. There's 4 of them. And here he's just running the black stone that was along the bottom of the facade of the house. He's just running along the sides of the stairs to kind of complete it. I think it only took him a day to do the 4 stairs, but really looks nice. Happy with the result of our stairs. They all look complete now. Really been happy with this Tyler. He's just so meticulous. And there's the end result. Noses on the stairs and around the stone, all set for walking on. Then it was grouting of the porches. It took a couple of days. This completes all the tiling. Then we're on to SPC flooring. So it was time for the team to arrive to prepare the floor to receive the tile. They had to do leveling because the previous job of leveling was raised, quite significantly, but some of the leveling had come away and the concrete wasn't adhering properly. So they had to treat it again with a 3 treatment system. They poured this liquid penetration solution onto the floor, and then that was followed by this crystal bond primer that was poured out on the floor and then just rollered out across all the floor. So it's a primer solution that prepares the floor to receive the next topping that you'll see in a moment. So this is for all the rooms inside the house except the kitchen, so lounge, dining, hallway, and the bedrooms. So that's what the floor looks like when the primer's been all laid out. Then the team set about making the mortar that they'll put down on the floor. Here he's adding a special mortar plus mixture that he puts into water with some mortar, regular cement mortar, and they make a very wet slurry mix out of this. So they fill up these 2 pails and mix it up to the right consistency. As I say, it's very kind of wet, a wet slurry. Then it's just paled out onto the floors, and then they have a very large trowel here that just spread it around into all areas of the floor. So this is kind of a self-leveling mortar. It's only 1 to 2 millimeters thick on the floor. But all this then binds the concrete underneath, so there'll be no movement. And as necessary, they use the straight edge to just get it to the correct level around all the flooring. Just making their way through all the rooms. So they had taped up all the door frames and sashes and everything so that this concrete doesn't get onto any of that. Here just pointing out, so there's been the previous leveling has come away from the base concrete below, and so you can tell it's hollow, but all this treatment will bind it all back together and make it solid. So when the flooring, SPC flooring, goes on top of it, it's not going to be moving or lifting down the track. So they've been doing this apparently for years. This fellow on your left, he's a technician. And there they're just doing the lounge room and dining room, getting that mortar mix spread out across the floor. And then next day, that's the end result of what it looks like. It's all nice and smooth and level and ready to accept the SPC tiling, floorboards that they'll be putting down. Then the next evening, the technicians arrived back to inspect the result and brought 61 boxes of floor tiling to do our floors. looking forward to that, and that was the end of the night. Then it was the next day and time for kitchen cabinets. This is really starting to make the place look good, but first off we had to get the cabinets delivered, so this was the Home Pro truck from Mukdahan who arrived at the property with many boxes. So he's brought our fans and all the lower and upper kitchen cabinetry from Kitcho. So this is the boxes of cabinets and door frames. The door frames for the lower cabinets and the cabinets for the upper. Here the Tyler is putting these in for us. We paid him separately to install these. So it's a door and a frame. It just simply has to be put into the openings that he made when he built the counter and created the openings. So it's just a matter of making sure they're level, and in it goes, and it's got self-closing hinges, and that's what the lower cabinetry looks like. So that was just a matter of going around all of the bottom of the counters and installing the various doors. So some were double doors, some were single doors, some were vented doors for the gas bottle and under the sink. So it was just the tedious job of leveling and making sure that they were square so that the doors would self-close as they're intended. And this is, we had 2 drawer systems that we put in. So there's an upper and lower drawer in these complete cabinets. So they just slot into the space that he built. And they're the self-closing drawer, working a treat. And just putting the tray into the drawer for knives, forks, and other utensils. So really happy with the look and feel and how that went. Then it was get up on the counter and start on the upper cabinets. So they were all unpacked and put out across the counter, so we make sure that everything was right. Started in the corner to work his way. Now as the camera comes, you'll see, the cabinets actually go outside the tile area. You see on your left. That's not what the plan shows. That's not what's supposed to happen. And the counters and tiling were built to the original Kitcho design. However, turns out that the designer, unbeknownst to us, changed the plan, and instead of having one 60-centimeter cabinet, he put in 2 40s for a total of 80. So it went over where it should. This is the end result, with the cabinetry on the left not put up because of the problem. So after discussions with Home Pro and Kitcho, they sent a Kitcho technician out. He took all the cabinets down, and he can fix the problem by cutting 6 or 7 centimeters off the end cabinet, the corner cabinet, so you don't see it. It's just, it works out well. Here he is. Here he's taking off the small bit that has to come off of the corner cabinet. So it's just, the cabinet is not as deep at the back as it should be, but it's a corner cabinet. Doesn't matter. And he finished that, got it installed, and managed to get everything lined up nicely. So the cabinets now go to just where the edge of the tiling and the eyebrow are. Wonderful fit. Then it was time to put all the doors back into place. Check the self-closing is working properly. And you know, this technician, he was meticulous as well. You know, constantly using his level to check everything. But he's a technician, been working for years for Kitcho, so he's used to their systems, and there's the end result. Everything lined up, everything in place, everything working well. So really happy with that result. So this week, one of our builder's laborers was doing various things around the house, including taking down the storage shed that has been used since the beginning of the build. This is just the tin shed, but they kept various supplies in there. Great to see some of this infrastructure come down and hopefully return the property to us soon. So everything's down except the roof. That eventually came down. There's also dirt piled up around the sidewalks. He was then using his hoe to pull it into the sidewalk, bury the water supply pipes that go around the house against the sidewalk. You saw in earlier videos. So it's just a lot of manual labor to pull that dirt in. Then he used a compactor to go over the kind of rough and lumpy dirt that was there, smooth it out and make it fine again. You can see the soil here is level with the sidewalk, but then slopes off to the other yard, so that any water will run off to the yard and away from the house. So happy with that. There's just some shots of finished work at this stage. He also trimmed up around the house so we can put geotech and gravel in. Then the breeze block wall for the carport, they arrived from Mukdahan, delivered to site. We also found some non-slip black tile that we're going to use on the garage floor or the carport floor to finish that off. And just a view from the back balcony out to the end of the property. So the big tree on the left and right, that's the end of our property. So just so you get a sense. I had to go to doctor in Nakhon Phanom for a checkup, and it was a street side breakfast by the Mekong. So just some views of that. Thanks for joining us this week, and next week you'll see all the electricals and the SPC flooring install. Look forward to sharing all that with you then. So until next week, cheers and thanks for joining us.